the North Korea does not pursue or adopt the unilateral nuclear strategy, and then it would be better for China if the North Korea, consult with the China on the nuclear tests and also missile tests and also its policy toward the United States. So against this backdrop, I think that the China may want North Korea to, I think, the catalyze, maybe they depend on the China strategically and maybe the catalyzing China for the North Korea the interest rather than adopting the unilateral nuclear strategy, which may be much riskier than before. And second, regarding the North Korea's response to the South Korean Yoon Suk-yeol government, the policy towards North Korea, maybe I think that most of the people in this room are not really optimistic. I should not say the pessimistic, but I still should say that it's not really the optimistic. That you already read that the Kim Jong-un's sister Kim Yo-jong's response to the South Korean government statement, especially the President Yoon Suk-yeol's North Korean policy. I think that North Korea came to the negotiation table in the early 2018, starting with the Pyeongchang, Winter Olympic Games, and then also they, participated in the 3 inter-Korean the summit meeting and also the 2 U.S. North Korean summit meeting between Trump and Kim Jong-un. And the reason for North Korea's, coming back to the negotiation table at that time was that North Korea, believed that they completed the nuclear deterrence capability against the United States in late 2017. And then at that time, it seems to me that Kim Jong-un believed that United States, might, concede somewhat, and maybe as much as Kim Jong-un wants in the the U.S. North Korean summit meeting. So that's why the Kim Jong-un decided to meet with the U.S. President Trump twice. But the thing is that at the Hanoi meeting, the Singapore summit meeting was quite okay and somewhat satisfactory to the North Korean side. But the Hanoi meeting was, a disaster. And then Kim Jong-un was really disappointed. And then I think that he realized that he cannot persuade the United States to concede, it's really difficult to get compromise, as much compromise as possible from the United States. And then he came back to the previous the nuclear policy before the 2018. So now we are, faced with the 2017, very dire situation now. So that's why I think that North Korea is not likely, really not likely to respond to the South Korea's the policy in the near future. And I think there are 3 challenges still. The first one is that, just as I mentioned, that North Korea's reluctance to cooperate with South Korea and the United States at the time. The second is that the U.S. Biden administration's the foreign policy, North Korea policy of strategic patience, like the Obama's strategic patience policy. Because Biden administration is too busy to, deal with the North Korean issue now. And third is, as you know, and as I mentioned, that the emerging, the bilateral and the conflicting international relations, not only between the U.S. and China, but also between, the Western side and also the Russian and Chinese, the authoritarian side. That all, gives a really critical impact on the North Korean issues, and it would be really difficult for us to see the North Korea to come back to the negotiation table in the future. But still, we need to make every effort to, be coming up with a new approach and a very creative, approach how to, persuade North Korea to come back to the negotiation table, starting with some kind of soft issue like the vaccine or the humanitarian, aid, something like that. Okay, thank you. The Biden administration is not likely to change its policy towards North Korea unless North Korea, changes its policy first. And then the problem is that North Korea is not likely, is really reluctant to change its policy and still, the maintaining its hardline policy and then refusing to talk with the U.S. and South Korea. But still, the problem is that there is some precondition on the denuclearization talk, and the North Korea is not likely to, accept those preconditions. That's the problem. But of course, the main problem comes from North Korea. But still, I think that the U.S. Policy has some, unsatisfactory, point here. North Korea's strategies now is to buy time, for its the development of, further, nuclear capability, including the tactical nuclear weapons and also new developing new nuclear strategy. So, whose side? I mean that the time is on whose side actually. That's the problem. So maybe the Biden administration is that the time is on the U.S. side, but it seems to me that the Kim Jong-un believes that the time is on the North Korean the side. So there is no room for both the United States and North Korea to compromise on that point. But the thing is that we cannot just let it go like this because the Bush administration, didn't have the specific North Korea policy. The Obama administration, adopted the so-called strategic patience, doing nothing actually about North Korea. And then during that time, North Korea, had the secured enough time to develop its own nuclear weapons, and that the result was that there are 6 nuclear tests until 2017, and then the development of the intercontinental ICBM class, the rocket system. So we cannot just let the North Korea go in this way, and we need to do whatever it is. We need to do something about to stop North Korea's further development of the nuclear capabilities. But the thing is that what is trouble is that the Biden administration is also, it seems to me that Biden administration is also adopting the strategic patience, maybe strategic patience policy 2.0, and then it's doing nothing about North Korea, just waiting for the North Korea to change its own course of action, which is not really, likely. So that's why, we are really pessimistic about the, future, the North Korean nuclear talks. So really, troubling. So both the U.S. and South Korea, and also North Korea, should do something to come up with better approach to this issue, because it's really important, of the Korean Peninsula to resolve these, current deadlock and try to resolve these issue in the future. And I think the time is not on the neither side. Actually, the crisis is nuclear crisis is not, the helpful really to not only to the U.S. and South Korea, but also to the North Korea. The nature of the its regime. I don't say the regime change. I say the nature of the regime, but it takes time to, for North Korea to change its nature of the regime. But it is really important for the outside, the other countries to capitalize North Korea to on its behalf to change its course of action, its course of its foreign policy. As you know, that Rome was not built in a day. Then North Korea can change, but North Korea cannot be changed in just a day. So it takes time. It's always it's really difficult. It's pessimistic, but it's really difficult for us to make every effort to come up with a new approach and try to attract North Korea to come back to the negotiation table and then try to think again about their national strategy and the alternative route to their survival and the prosperity in the northern side of the North Korea, and eventually thinking about the unification on the Korean Peninsula. Of U.S.-China, the cooperation on the North Korean issue, I think that the windows of opportunity is very quickly closing. Maybe as you know that maybe mainly due to the Russian invasion of Ukraine and all the Taiwan issue, and also the emerging, the new Cold War style international relations, bipolar system, like the international orders. But I believe that still the Chinese role is really important. And then what I think is that how to persuade China to to help North Korea to realize the as I said, the illusion of their own nuclear deterrence, that capability. And then I think that China would be much happier if the North Korea does not pursue or adopt the unilateral nuclear strategy. And then it would be better for China if the North Korea, consult with the China on the nuclear tests and also missile tests, and also its policy toward the United States. So against this backdrop, I think that the China may want North Korea to the catalyze, maybe they depend on the China strategically, and maybe the catalyzing China for the North Korea the interest, rather than adopting the unilateral nuclear strategy, which may be much riskier than before. And second, regarding the North Korea's response to the South Korean Yoon Suk-yeol government, the policy towards North Korea, maybe I think that most of the people in this room are not really optimistic. I should not say the pessimistic, but I still should say that it's not really the optimistic. That you already read that the Kim Jong-un's sister Kim Yo-jong's response to the South Korean government statement, especially the President Yoon Suk-yeol's North Korean policy, the guideline. The thing is that North Korea, seems to me North Korea has decided to muddle through all these difficulties, at least for several years since the early 2020. I think that North Korea came to the negotiation table in the early 2018, starting with the Pyeongchang, Winter Olympic Games, and then also they, participated in the 3 inter-Korean the summit meeting, and also the 2 U.S. North Korean summit meeting between Trump and Kim Jong-un.